He writes for the Basel Zeitung. And he wanted to go to Chihuahua to make a reportage about the museum of Pancho Villa,
Mm-hmm.
no?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, come with me. We take the plane there, and then we go on. We do the Copper Canyon, which is supposed to be very nice. I said, okay. I had no other choice. I went with him, and I was scared to death because we came out of the plane. We went to this museum, and then we took a train which goes to Creel. This is there were some. I was 200 years behind. I mean, it reminded me the movies of John Wayne, with the guy, people with pistolas and everything, Indian there. They said, where did I land here? I had a culture shock, enormous. And I stayed there in this small village. I couldn't move. I had a culture shock. But the writer said, no, I want to go on. I want to go and visit people. They are living in caverns. I said, okay, no. 200 years behind is okay, but 2,000 years, no, that's too much. So he went, and I stayed alone. I put all my courage together, and then I landed in Guadalajara, and there I found people, I found friends, and I stayed there and got married. Nice. But I'm not always here. I mean, I live most of the time when I can. I live in Mexico because of the weather. I cannot stand the cold weather because I have health problems. I have various challenges on my spine and things like this, and heart problems, and all kind of things.
Right.
And I must live in a place where the climate is more or less acceptable, not extreme. So I go from Switzerland to Mexico, but officially I live in Switzerland.
Oh, you officially live in Switzerland.
Yes.
I'm actually going to Switzerland next week. I'm going to go.
Oh, yeah?
My day job is I'm a filmmaker, and I'm working with a woman named Mika Rottenberg, who's an artist who makes films, and I produce and I shoot her films. So we're going to shoot in CERN, in the...
Of the CERN?
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, we're shooting in CERN. It should be interesting.
Come too.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. It's going to be very interesting. It's very kind of, they have a lot of security.
Well, I hope so. Interesting, eh?
Yeah, it should be cool. It'll be my first time to Switzerland, actually.
Really?
Yeah. I've spent a lot of time in Europe, and especially a lot of time in France. But I have not ever been to Switzerland, so.
But you go to Geneva. This is the
Yes,
French
I'm going
part.
to Geneva, exactly.
Yeah. German part is a bit different. I mean, but this is nice. I like it.
Yeah.
I will go. I will be there in May or June.
So you go back and forth, depending on the weather.
Yes, I have to, because I have to show myself that I'm
still
alive.
Right. So let me ask you this now. What are you working on right now? Are you still making music?
Look, for 2 years I couldn't do nothing. I was in the bed. I was in horizontal position, and I had enormous back pains and everything. Now it's a bit better. Also, the technology has changed. As I cannot wear heavy things, I sold my synthesizer, but I had a Roland, I had a Yamaha, and I sold it, and everything is new technology, much smaller, and I have to learn. Everything you buy, you have to learn again. Sure. It takes months to learn it. So it's just now I'm trying to get a small trio together.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this. One thing to think about, my son, who is also, I've gotten him, he's 15 years old. He's very interested in the synthesis of electronic music and woodwinds. So he has been using the recorder, but then he uses Eurorack. Do you know about the Eurorack stuff?
Yeah. Yes.
So he's really deep into that, and I will tell you
That's
that
really.
it's really cool stuff. I mean, it really, that guy Dupfer is a genius, and you know that whole system and all those different. There's just, I mean, like you were saying, there is infinite possibility, which was not the case with earlier gear. So you might want to listen. You might want to look at Eurorack. Because it's also very small. It's very small. It's kind of
but I know I saw it. Yeah, but it's too much for me. I don't know what to get.
It's complicated.
I would prefer to make music instead of learning all the programs and all. I prefer to make music. So I want to have the things here. I just play and that's it.
Well, so I will say if you put together 14 tracks that sound anything like, your other 28 library records, by all means, you should let me know, because it can immediately become a library record. And like I said, at this point, your name is really like, in that small group of like the greatest composers of library music. Like dude, I mean, I'll send you some links of just the press where they talk about your work and stuff, because there was a lot of press on the book and on the comp, like I said, in which you are featured prominently. And I've been really, pushing, because like I said, I'm a huge fan and really greatly in awe of what you've done. And I'm very, very deeply appreciative of it. Because,
I appreciate it. Thank you. I must say that it's okay where I live here. It's really nice. But it's really isolated. I mean, around here there's Mexican music, which is nice, but it's not my type. And when I do something, I go to Switzerland. But the music I do at home.
Well, like I said, I know you did a lot of those records completely on your own before. If something comes together and it seems appropriate, by all means, you should make it, and I'm happy to help you make it into a contemporary library record. Because I think that would get a really good response.
Yeah, but where do I do that? I mean, you produce that or what?
Yes. Yeah. At this point, I'm working with young musicians. There was this time when I first started with this where, the way that people saw library music was that it was like, I mean, at least certainly back when you were making library records, there were no commercial musicians who necessarily wanted to put their name on a library record, because they thought, but now that's changed. And in fact, because of people like me, getting out there and, sharing with people the great library music, suddenly what I've found is that, I have these friends, a lot of very successful musician friends who just know about library music through me, and they're suddenly like, I would love to make library music, and I'll put my name on it. So there's been a little bit of a shift there, where I think that it's cool to make library music. And so basically, what I'm doing with the Italian library, it's being represented by APM in North America and by EMI in the rest of the world. So I can easily take new material and then have worldwide representation from the two. Those are the two best. I mean, know that EMI, and APM, they're honest. They pay on time. They're not crooks. Yes. They play by the rules, So I would just say that I would even go as far as to say that if you have any old tracks that are laying around that sound anything like what you've done before, by all means, let's make them into library records right now. I mean, just last Thanksgiving, I was at Deuter's studio in Santa Fe, telling him trying to buy his EMS Cynthia AKS as well, but telling him the same thing. I was saying he has all these tapes, and he was like, I was like, you can take any of these and we can make it into a library record, and